Not often do games come out that most people would call perfect. It is even more uncommon for one of these games to get a sequel that many feel expands on and meets the same heights as the original. One game series that captured lightning in a bottle twice was Portal. If you've played games in the past 20 years, there's an extremely high chance you played Portal or its sequel. The impact that these two games had on not just puzzle games but games in general cannot be understated. Now, this video is going to contain spoilers for Portal 1, Portal 2 and the recently released Portal Revolution. So if you don't want to be spoiled, go away and play the games, then come back here later. The first Portal game, which released in 2007, was a short but moody and atmospheric puzzle game that introduces you to the portal gun. The concept is simple enough. You have two portals which are connected. Go through one, come out the other. While it is a simple concept, the way the portals and environments are crafted gives them thought-provoking puzzles that leave you assessing every room, having used everything available to you to solve the puzzle. We are slowly introduced to more and more mechanics as you work your way from chamber to chamber, all while GLaDOS taunts you in the background. All of this building up to a final escape and boss fight where you'll use all you have learned up to this point to take down GLaDOS. This game showcases a perfect difficulty curve, slowly introducing new mechanics and teaching the player how we can utilise them to our advantage. When we get to the end, we are left to use what we can of our environment to escape death. The clean aesthetic of the test chamber is instead replaced by the darker and dingier backrooms of this facility. A look behind the curtain at the true nature of this place. We then use everything we have learned to take down GLaDOS and eventually escape the facility. We are left with a cliffhanger as our bodies get dragged back into the Aperture Science facility. 4 years later, we get Portal 2. With the reception the original got, obviously people were hyped. As great as the first game is, there is so much untapped potential in this concept. While the first game had humour, this game takes it up a notch. This is one of the funniest games I've played. We are introduced to Wheatley, voiced by Stephen Merchant, who gives one of my favourite voice acting performances, not just in video games, but in general. Later on in the game, we do get sections that are more moody and atmospheric like the original. We really get the best of both worlds here. This game also does so much in terms of expanding the lore of the series. We are introduced to Cave Johnson, voiced by J.K. Simmons, the founder of Aperture Science. We find out what the facility was for and we take a deeper look at the dark history involved. We get GLaDOS as our companion this time, as we learn more about her backstory and how she came to be. In terms of gameplay, we get new mechanics introduced that fit in perfectly and just make sense. The gels work with the portals to create more complex puzzles and just fit seamlessly. Once again, the difficulty curve is perfect. Just as you perfect one mechanic, they throw another into the mix. These two games are perfect for people new to games and people who play games daily. Mechanically, they are simple enough to understand. The challenge comes from working with what little you have to solve puzzles. Given this simple concept and high quality, it is easy to understand why fans of this series have been wondering if we will ever see an official third installment in this beloved franchise. Knowing that Valve have a hard time counting to 3, this seems unlikely. I mean, come on. Team Fortress 2, Left 4 Dead 2, Half-Life 2, Portal 2, even Counter-Strike 2, despite it being the 5th game in the series. An official Portal 3 seems unlikely, and the continuation of this series has been left to the fans and the modding community, with many high quality mods out there with their own stories and new puzzles. I've never explored any of these mods despite many of them being highly regarded and well reviewed. That was until Portal Revolution released a few weeks back. I had not heard anything about this mod until the day it was released and saw a couple people talking about it. I decided to give it a shot on stream because who doesn't enjoy watching an idiot solve puzzles? 8 hours and plenty of infuriated chatters later, I had beat this mod. I was incredibly impressed at how well this fit in with the other Portal games, maintaining that sense of humour while still having some of the isolated horror elements. You can tell the love the creators had for the original 2 games. If you sat me down with no knowledge that this was something made independently of Valve and told me that Valve themselves had made Portal the pre-sequel, then I would have believed you. The tone of the game and the complexity of the puzzles fit perfectly within the Portal universe. The game takes place between the events of Portal 1 and Portal 2. Here we play as an unnamed test subject who is woken up by Sterling, a core who tells us that we're a part of an emergency response team. We solve some tests and we eventually find out that was all made up. Sterling's real goal is to restore Aperture to its former glory. Using the fact that he set us free, he manages to enlist our help in reaching the Spire. His main goal being to reassemble GLaDOS and reactivate her. Given how much he bullied me in the first game, I wasn't too fond of this idea. The machine malfunctions and we are teleported below the surface all alone. From here we walk a fair bit and try to work out where we are. After navigating this area we find another portal gun, we meet Amelia Connolly, former employee whose mind was copied into a core. She warns us that awakening GLaDOS will be a mistake and informs the test subject what happened to the facility and what GLaDOS did. Once we reach the surface again, Sterling refuses to listen and goes ahead of his plan of bringing GLaDOS back. A fight occurs and eventually Sterling is defeated and the device explodes. In the post-credits it is revealed that the explosion caused the Spire to be teleported to the moon where the player is placed in stasis by Amelia. This little cliffhanger leaves room for more content down the line. While I'm not massively knowledgeable about Portal and its lore, this mod fits perfectly in the universe and I wouldn't mind seeing where the mod creators take this story in the future. I believe Sterling and Amelia as personalities in this world. The voice acting as well is top notch. I was particularly fond of Amelia and the companionship she provides in the later stages of the game. We meet her after a long and quiet walk by ourselves and she is a perfect catalyst to help move us and the story along. Now, as far as the difficulty goes, I was also impressed. I read on the Steam store that the difficulty picks up right where Portal 2 left off. It's a great way to describe a difficulty. There was nothing that was impossibly difficult and besides a few minor brain farts, I made my way through the puzzles at a steady pace. If you are capable of beating Portal 2, then you are capable of beating this game. The game does introduce a couple new mechanics like new laser cubes and the ability to power chambers on and off. This new mechanic fit in perfectly and created a fun new way of solving these puzzles. These new ways of solving puzzles fit in perfectly and never felt out of place. Just like the new mechanics added in Portal 2, they felt like a natural evolution of what can be done within the world of Portal. These games are known for being creative with the way to solve chambers, but this mod just proves that there's still so much you can do to evolve that concept. Just like the jump between Portal and Portal 2, the stuff introduced does feel like a natural evolution and something you are surprised wasn't a part of the franchise all along. Playing this made me go back and play Portal and Portal 2 again. I played the RTX version of Portal, so it was a given that game would look great. However, Portal 2 looks incredible and still holds up today. For a game that came out in 2011, the game does not look dated at all. This mod takes that and enhances it even further. It really does look like something Valve would release officially. This extends further than just the visuals. The sound design is also incredibly well done, with everything from the score and sound effects sounding great. I've always enjoyed the sound effects in these games, whether it be the sound of the gun itself or the cries of turrets as you kill them. This is no different here and maintains that same level of quality, with many people going as far as calling it Portal 3. It's hard to argue this. I really hope we see more from this team in the future. This mod inspired me to go back and play the original 2 games. Going back made me appreciate these games even more. I do hope that Valve go back one day and bring an official 3rd installment in the franchise. Maybe even bringing on board the creators of these mods to provide inspiration. This mod has proved that these fans are extremely passionate and understand what made the original 2 games great on both a technical and story writing level. This might be wishful thinking, but we are all allowed to dream. However, if the future of Portal content is left to the fans and we continue getting mods of this quality, then how can I complain? I have left a link in the description for the mod and I highly recommend checking it out. Let me know down below if you have played it and what your thoughts were. I played this over on my Twitch channel, link also in the description, so if you want to watch these playthroughs firsthand, head on over there. Make sure to like and subscribe and peace out.